Hi, this is the lightning tutorial of Pickford Creator Tools. So if you go into the Create tab of the Creator Tools, you'll see all the projects you have. I'm not going to make a new project right now. I'm going to walk you through a current project that I have already made to give you all the concepts that you'll need to know. If you want a longer version, we have a 30-minute tutorial video that shows you how to make, shows you all the details of how to make a project. So let's go into a project that I already made, The Rise of Eldor. So I made this project. I have one episode in this project, and you'll note here this generate button. This generate, if you click this button, it's going to take about 30 seconds. It'll generate all the pieces of a Pickford project that are required. Once you do that, you can press play and you can go. Or you can dive into all these things on the left here that are going to tell you, control different parts of your story. So let's start with concept. Concept is exactly what it sounds like, the premise of the story. This is part of the world building of a story. You can generate it, or you can spend, what I would recommend, a long time fleshing this out. This is going to influence all the different pieces that you have in your story. Characters, same thing. Here I've got two characters. They've got details about them. They've got a backstory about them. You can choose their voice. I would recommend spending a long time on this backstory to kind of really flesh out who your characters are. Story tab. This is where you actually build your story. Right now I'm on the first episode of my show. You can create alternative episodes and continue building. But a single story exists in a node graph like this. And there are three types of nodes. A scene node, which describes what's going on in that scene. If we click that, we can see this scene node. And really the important thing is this scene description. This scene description will help drive the dialogue in that scene. You can specify the characters and the title of that scene. If you also want to get rid of this scene node, you can say orphan this scene, which removes it from our main spine of the story. An act node is just a director node, but it helps group different nodes. So if this right now is my act 1, if I add an act node and I connect it to my story, all of the scenes after this node are part of act 2. And they're really just for you to see, to help the grouping of these for your scene nodes. A gate node helps you branch a story. So if you bring that out, you'll see that it automatically helps you branch your story based on conditions. These conditions can be specified in the variables tab, which we'll talk about. Save and continue. Now, if you don't understand what these are initially, you can always generate them. These are the different variables that are going to help control your story and what make a Pickford story truly a unique Pickford story. You can think of variables as like Mad Libs, right? When you make your scene description in your story tab, rather than just writing text, you can actually input variables into that story description. You can see in this scene 1, I've got a few different variables in here. These variables are going to change depending on how the story rolls out. And there's a few different types of variables. Audience-driven variables are controlled by the audience's chat messages. So this variable will change depending on how the audience interacts with the chat. Story-driven variables are variables that change based on what has already been generated in the story. Pickford stories are AI-driven. They are generated on the fly. And so when we create pretty vague story descriptions, we don't actually know what's going to happen in actual dialogue. If I say something vague in a story description, it might manifest in one particular way. I can go and get that value of what happened in the past through this kind of variable. A random variable is exactly what it sounds like. This variable will resolve to one of the options that you give it randomly when the story begins. Logic guides help build different paths of logic based on your variables. So this variable, this logic guide that I create, is based on this variable, the Belight's origin, which is this, or this variable, excuse me. And if this variable resolves to this value, we go down this path. So then I can use that logic guide to create meta variables, or in my story, branch my scene. If I go back to meta variables are exactly that. So when this is like a Mad Lib within a Mad Lib, you can use a logic guide to make this variable resolve to something different. So if this condition happens, which is defined here, this is what this variable will resolve to. So then, in my story, I can put that variable right in there, and it will resolve to that certain condition. You can think, the big thing about Pickford is you can think of these as like Mad Libs. That's really what we're going for here. All right. The last thing is world information. These are different pieces of world-specific information that help world building. So these will help clarify parts of your world that will help influence and make your script a bit more accurate. All right, that's pretty much the quick version of Creator Tools. Once you're done creating a story here, click play, and it will bring up the audio player. And within 30 to 45 seconds, it will play your audio. Then you can type some messages in here of what you want to happen, and your story will update over time. All right, thanks for watching.